Hello, in this video I want to go over the Halion Sonic, or the Halion Sonic SE. There's some features in the synthesizer that can be useful if you're not really a keyboard player, so I want to go over those. First, I've already created tracks, but just for review, to create a track, you go to Project, Add Track, and we're making instrument tracks. If you're using Cubase Artist, or the Pro version, you'll get Halion Sonic SE. In the Music Lab, we have the full version because we went out and purchased a sampler. When you buy the Halion sampler, you get the full version of Halion Sonic. So there's more patches, more editing features, but the Halion Sonic SE is pretty cool. We can load a patch. So through here, this is our load patch area. And we can click on a patch and drag it over to the first slot there. And play it. Right, so I can play it from the keyboard. I have a MIDI controller. If you don't have a MIDI controller and you're working at home, under Studio there is the on-screen keyboard, Option K, and so you can use your computer keyboard. That works pretty good. These are the different octaves. But I'll use my MIDI controller. So that's how you get the Halion Sonic to appear in a track. And so I've already created some stuff here, and so let's go through some of this. In the old days of the Halion Sonic, it used to come with a default patch called First Contact, which is a cool patch. Sounds like that. These are called the quick controls. So these are controls that will affect the patch. There's some filtering. This might be useful for the on-screen. The cutoff opens and closes the filter, so when it's all the way right, all the frequencies are through. When it starts moving to the left, it's cutting those upper frequencies. The thing I'm really interested in, though, is these notes here. So if you click on one of these, whoa, that's cool. It's playing chords. Right? Those are kind of cool chords. So the first thing I want to do is let's bring it back to the beginning. Oh, I lost my graphic interface of the instrument, so I'm going to go right here to get it back. You got to double click. There, it brings it back to the front. If I right click here in the title bar, always on top, we'll keep it so it doesn't disappear. I want to go back to the beginning and then asterisk or record. And then I'm going to click on these and they should be recorded right into the track, which would be great. Hit stop. That sounds great. Cool progression. Decimal rewinds. Press enter. What the heck? Nothing's playing. That's a weird thing about some of these patches in the Halion Sonic SE or the full version is they have these trigger pads, but they don't really properly work. They're not really completed. So the way to get these to work is we have to create a trigger note. So if I right click on this, a little sub menu comes up where you can take a snapshot of the chord. We'll do that in a sec. You can name it. And hey, look, there's trigger notes. So I'm going to just hit learn trigger note, and then it's pulsing here, so it's waiting for me to play a note. And I'm going to play the root, which is A flat. So I'm playing A flat here. And oddly they called it G sharp. But see, there's I have a blue note here. So we're going to just do that through all these. We'll do 4 of them. Now you notice I have these blue notes. These are my triggered keys. So when I play this C3, it plays our C minor chord that was in there already. So the beauty is, now I can just hit those blue notes and it should record it in there. So I rewind, decimal to rewind, asterisk to start going. Hit stop. Look at that. That didn't work either. Crazy. It's odd that they didn't put functionality with the trigger notes. Like if I hit record, you can't do that. It's just kind of weird why they did that. But if I go to Studio on-screen keyboard and trigger it through here, I should be able to do it. The trick is to figure out which key is the right key. There we go. So I think it's gonna be... Alright, so there's my 3 chords. If I want to trigger the F, I have to go to this octave here. But we can do that. Now I'm going to rewind. If I want the metronome, I can turn that on down there. C, turns that on. Asterisk to record. Now I lost my keyboard here. When you have the keyboard on, you got to watch out because the decimal in the numeric keypad changes this view. When you have the on-screen keyboard, you do lose functionality of some of the shortcuts, which can be a problem if you're used to the shortcuts. So I'm going to just take the play bar and move it to the beginning and hit asterisk. I got my metronome turned on down here, and then I'm going to hit asterisk to go. Right, so that's a pretty good little riff. Let's see if it worked. Let's turn the metronome off, get rid of the keyboard, so now I can use the decimal to rewind. There we go. Let's see what we get. So I'm essentially playing the chord with one finger or one note press, which is pretty cool. That is very useful. If we double click on the MIDI clip to get in the key editor, you can see just one note is triggering the chord. If I wanted to quantize, we did that in the first week video. I can hit Q and now everything will be moved to the grid. So let me show you how to do that with any patch. So we'll go to this one here. This is the Solono pad. Cool sound. But as you can see, the pads are empty. So let's fill them up. Because, you know, I'm a guitar player. Keyboards, I'm okay at piano, but not the greatest. So I could always need some help. And that's what these trigger pads are for us non-piano players. So I'm going to right click on here and hit snapshot chord. And so now it pulsates. It's waiting for an input of information. And then you can just play a chord. So I'm going to play a big C minor chord and then click on that to accept your chord. And now I got it. So now we can rename it. We'll call it C with a minus for C minor. We also need a trigger note. We will do a C. Pretty cool. We can do this 8 times, right? We've got 8 pads. Let's hit save. So right click, snapshot chord, maybe an F minor. Rename, F minor, and now we will get a trigger note and we're gonna go to F. So now and then this one here, we should probably do a G. Now I can hold the damper pedal to sustain the chord, and now I've taken my hands off the keyboard, and I can add other notes. And it'll add to the chord. So now that top note was added in there, so I was able to add more. We have 10 fingers. You could have a 20-note chord if you wanted by using the sustain pedal. All right, so let's rename. So now we got G minor. Of course, we should do a trigger note, and we'll do G. Let's do one more. And we can record that in. So if we just solo this so we don't lost my interface there, so always on top. I'm just going to trigger the notes on my MIDI controller. Pretty cool and pretty darn easy once you kind of figure it out. I'm just playing one note, so I don't have to play those huge chords. There's my notes, and it will trigger the full chord. So a really good way to get some more mileage out of these synthesizers and out of your playing ability. I mean, I could learn those chords and play them in, but it would take me some time. It's much easier for me to use these trigger pads to record and trigger the chords. So that's trigger pads. All right. All for now. Talk to you later.